Good afternoon. Welcome to this session on Skillathon. Today, we are going to look at a very important topic, and this topic is going to help you in order to improve your effectiveness at work. And I'm sure you would enjoy this topic to the core. So, as you all know, Skillathon basically we cover three areas: the skill set, tool set, and mindset, in order to make you a competent programmer. And at Masai School, we always believed in holistic development. Apart from the tech skill, we wanted to build your soft skills so that you can be very effective in your career. So go back. What did we cover last week? We were looking at communication skills. There are four key components of an effective communication: ability to listen, ability to speak, ability to read, and ability to write. And we started with writing skills, and we looked at a concept, a framework called power. I also gave you some activity to continue with doing that. But today, what we are going to look at is one important output of the skill is email writing. I'm sure many of you are writing mails in your personal capacity, but once you start working, this skill will be super useful in order to make effectiveness at work. You could be writing mails internally, you may be writing mails externally. So, email effectiveness is a skill that would help you even at the stage when you are applying for jobs. So let's start today and look at how do we build our skills in email effectiveness. Okay, great. So let's start, and let me give you some statistics why this skill is absolutely important and why enhancing this effectiveness will help us in our professional and personal lives. There was a survey of survey being done in order to identify how important is business executive communication preferences, and the survey shows that close to 65% of the people like email as the most preferred way of communicating. Uh, Around 15% say face to face, and 15% says video conferencing. When I say video conferencing, like what we are using Zoom, Google Meet, or it could be even your WebEx and Microsoft Teams, and many more are come in the market. And less than 5% says print. What do you mean by print? That good old days that you take a print and then courier the documents and do it as a communication. In fact, this survey is pre-COVID. I think post-COVID, the face-to-face might have come down below 10%, and video conferences might have gone higher because everybody has understood the impact of reaching out to the other audience. But still, by far, email has remained large. When more than 50% of communication preferences is on email, I think we must build the skill. Okay, so let's start with this. What are the advantages and disadvantages of email? Can you tell me what is one advantage of an email communication? Can you tell me one advantage of a email communication? Please use your chat box. You have the proof. Absolutely. Who said that? You have the proof. Quick communication. We have a written conversation. Absolutely. I can trace it back even after so many days and months and years and said that, look, you had written to me. So the proof is a big advantage. Can you tell me one disadvantage? What could be one disadvantage of an email? Gets time to think, accountability. It's very formal. Why would you say it is a disadvantage? Not instant. Very well said. Not instant, because you may send the mail unless the other person can be hacked, can be deleted, time taken, many things can happen. It is never private. It can always be shared with many people. So let us look at some of the advantages. The first advantage is fast. Today, let's say that I have 500 customers and I have launched a special campaign. All I need to do is prepare the template, boom. And how much time does it take? Few seconds to reach the inbox of 500 people, could be at any nook and corner of the country or the world. It's global. I can send it. There is no visa requirement. There is no restriction. I can send it, right? I can send documents. I can send slideshows. I can send presentation. I can send anything and everything that I need. It's instant. It is not like when good old days, I keep talking about my days in Oman, Muscat, when I went in 97. I used to, and those days, money transfer was not there. I used to take a draft there and send it home. And it used to take a week to reach India, right? But today you look at it, one click and it goes. One click, the money is transferred. I just go there. I decided I have money. I click anywhere in the world, I can transfer money. It's cheap and saves paper, right? When I say cheap, it costs hardly anything. If you considering that you are paying even the best of the internet connection at 799 divided by 30 days divided by 24 hours, and I am using it for a minute, it's pittance, cheap and saves paper. And permanent and retrievable, somebody said, right? It is retrievable, you have a proof. It doesn't just get evaporated. Largely it is there. Unless you make a mistake of deleting the mails, then it is not there. So there are a lot of advantages. I've just taken 5 top advantages. Let's look at some of the disadvantages. One of the disadvantage vis-a-vis in-person communication is the personal touch. You can try to bring in, but still an email lacks that personal touch, like an in-person communication or a telephone or something like this, what we are doing, right? It lacks personal touch. There could be some misunderstanding. So that is where your ability to write the content that it is understood by the receiver makes it very important. And I'm so sorry. I hope. Okay. It leads to emotional response could also be the reason. And it also puts the pressure to response. Sometimes when people receive email, they are in a hurry to respond because they are emotionally to it and they responded immediately. Probably in person, they would have avoided. They said, Dekha jayega, let me respond to it. And finally, information overload because of continuously you're marked CC. Everyone and keep using the CC, BCC, and the spam. You will see on an average how many emails you're going to receive, and there is a potential liability clause also in some countries if you do a wrong email communication. Now let's look at the usage statistics in the year 2019. There were 3.9 billion email users, and most of them having multiply accounts. If you take 8 billion as the world population, 3.9 billion email users are there. And I'm sure now 2021, the numbers could be different. Can you believe 293 billion emails are sent each day throughout the world? More than half the emails are spam, and India is called the world spam capital. 85% of users check their email on smartphones, take up 16% of average work week of an American. Emails are the biggest source of distraction. American workers receive an average 126 emails per day. See, why I'm giving US statistics is everything there is captured. In India, we are just moving towards data-driven society. Otherwise, Indians don't believe in data. They just say on the hunch, right? But today we are capturing data. I'm sure in one day we'll be able to share that. So considering that this is the kind of advantages, this is the kind of usage you have, is it not necessary that we build these good habits? Habits that are effective, habits that are efficient. Remember the good old saying that I keep saying, good habits make a great career. If I'm able to write emails better, if it is going to improve my effectiveness, let's learn it. And this is a tool that will be useful as you go up the ladder. You will use this tool more and more. And you will see the power of writing mails in both internal and external communication. Now, there are 2 things that we should all learn in today's session. And I'm recording this session because some of them in the previous batch has missed it out, and I want to share with them. One is the etiquettes, the other one is the effectiveness. There are 2 things are required here. It is not just the effectiveness. We should also look at the etiquettes. Ultimately, you are writing to a person, and there are certain etiquettes you need to maintain. Can somebody tell me the word etiquette? What do you mean by etiquette? It's a French word. It was popularized by French. Can somebody tell me what is an etiquette? Mannerism. There are certain manners that you demonstrate, right? There is something called as dining etiquette. When you sit on the dining table, there are certain etiquettes that you need to follow. There are certain meeting etiquettes. When you are in a Zoom meeting, there are certain etiquettes to be followed. There are some etiquettes on dressing, right? If you're visiting some formal gathering, there are some dressing etiquettes. So, and there are certain office etiquettes that we need to follow. So etiquette is something called as manners. And of course, etiquettes might vary from culture to culture, organization to organization, domain to domain, but largely there are some non-negotiable etiquettes. Okay, so let's look at each one of them. I'm going to cover etiquettes a little later in the end, but first let us look at effectiveness. Okay, now two things that we need to do. What we want to is improve individual and corporate professionalism and increase personal efficiency and effectiveness. When we start writing mail in the official capacity, let's say Yogesh is sending a mail. As I told you, we are talking to some foundation. I'm talking to Freshworks Foundation, Aga Khan Foundation, Swada Foundation. And when the mail goes from my ID, yogesh at masaischool.com, and in the bottom it says that the co-founder and senior vice president, it improves individual and corporate professionalism. Right, and it showcases the professionalism that I represent of Masai and me as a person, and also it increases my efficiency and effectiveness. So learning email effectiveness has got super dividends. So let us all learn it today. It is a learnable skill, it is a practical skill, and you can implement it today itself in order to improve your efficiency. And for you, the test of email writing will be when you start applying for jobs. And when you hit an organization, and if you start responding it in the way, people will notice it and say, hey, this guy's mail I will open because it makes sense to me. Okay, so let's look at it, what we want to do. First, we want to write emails. People will read emails, because if you don't create professional atmosphere, people will stop reading emails. It should be understood by the receiver. It should not confuse him. And in a way, it has to engage with an intended purpose. There is a purpose for every mail. You'll see that everything has a purpose in business communication. Not require too much time on the part of the receiver is what our intention is all about. Now, every instance of workplace writing occurs for a specific reason. Let's say I'm writing to Ankur in marketing, I'm writing to Vinay in finance, I'm writing to Shweta in business development, or I'm writing to Drupal in curriculum, or I'm writing to Tasneem in admission. I'm writing for a specific reason, and it is intended for a particular individual or a group. Although this may seem obvious, awareness of the purpose, audience, and the tone is the single most crucial factor determining whether the communication will succeed. So please write down somewhere called purpose, audience, and tone, PAT, P-A-T. Now, whenever you write a mail, you must ask, what is the purpose of this mail? Who are the audiences that I'm writing to? What should be the tone? PAT. So I'm going to talk about it a little more in detail. For the first one, let's start with an example. Okay, here is an example of a mail. Here is a Masai School student writing to the CTO and the chief instructor at Masai School Drupal Day. Okay, so you know the context. It is written by the student. To whom is he writing? He is writing to the CTO and the chief instructor at Masai School. Okay, let's look at the mail. I want you to observe the mail for 10 seconds and give me your feedback. This is how it goes. Drupal at Masai School, subject, hey, and hey, what did I miss today? I was unwell. Can you share the recorded lessons? Okay, here is a student in Masai School writing to the chief instructor and the CTO of the organization. Hey, what did I miss today? I was unwell. Can you share the recorded lesson? Now, quick remarks. What does the class feel about this email? Just one adjective to describe an email. Adjective: not formal, informal, ambiguous, ordering, careless, not writing the subject. Okay. Unprofessional. Superb. Sayak Ghosh said unprofessional. Some might even treat it as rude, no respect. You're writing to the CTO and the chief instructor, hey, I missed the class, send me the thing, as though he or she is ordering something on a platform. Absolutely. Very friendly. Okay. Do you think Drupal will treat it as very friendly? A CTO of a company will treat it as very friendly. Instructor would treat it as very friendly. Unlikely. So it is unprofessional. So we did this exercise sometime back in a large gathering, and we asked each one to put one word, one adjective, and you see that most of them said it is informal. Many said unprofessional. Quite a number of people said casual. Some said disrespectful. Some says he has written the way as such he doesn't care. and some people said it is good. I don't know who said why they said good. Many people said immature. I would assume that this person was writing this mail from the phone, right? 2,279 responses. This is how people responded. I'm sure most of you also responded it similarly. Now, this was one situation. Let's say another student has written in a different way. Okay. Now, talking about it, one thing is for sure in this mail, he or she did not follow the etiquette. More than, if you see that many people did not comment on the content, did not comment on the grammar. Most people said unprofessional, lazy, casual, right? Basically, what this mail lacked was etiquette, right? It lacked etiquette. Remember, etiquettes are manners for a specific country or a specific company or a domain or a particular body. It is specific always, etiquette. Now, there was a survey being done how much it damaged etiquette, and it is quite a bit. It has damaged more than 50% of the people. Now, email etiquettes, as a communicator, it is your responsibility to be clear, accurate, comprehensive, and be honest. Okay, so components of an effective email. What are we trying to do? We are trying to reach the right audience or the receiver, and you want to compose that mail effectively, right? Two things are there. I want to send this mail to the right audience. I need to compose the mail effectively. Tasneem from admissions is responsible for sending emails. Her objective is very simple. I need to reach the right audience or the receiver. I need to compose the message effectively so that open rates are there, actions are taken on the mail. Now let's follow up from the first example. Let's look at the example number 2. And I want you to look at it and give me your feedback on this. Same student writing to Nrupul, CTO and the chief instructor. Nrupul at masaischool.com. Today's class, 17th August 2020. Dear Nrupul, sorry I missed the class due to power cut in my area as a result of heavy rain since last night. Request to share the class recording to catch up with the missed lesson. Look forward. Warm regards, Shankar, Phoenix Batch. One adjective to describe this email. Accurate, professional, near perfect, formal, professionalism. Beautiful. Somebody has already used the PAT. Purpose, audience, and the tone. Very good. That's the way you have to apply whenever I give you some concepts or framework. Absolutely, Deepak. PAT. Okay. Now, this is what the audience feels, and this is what the most of them felt. Most of them felt it is professional and formal. They also said it is very concise, and it is the clarification is very high. It looks genuine. It looks humble, and it looks direct and a proper message. Absolutely. So writing mails, even a simple act, is very important. And I'm sorry to say that many of you have to go a long way in writing appropriate mails. Okay, many of you, when you write to your instructors, when you write to discipline at Masai School, or when you write to Nrupul or to me or for any application, a lot of elements are missing. Right? So today our class is all about helping you. How can you write effective email? I'm going to give you a framework. I'm going to give you a few nuances. I'm going to give you some elements. I'm going to tell you what not to do and what to do. But ultimately, who's got to do? It's you. Okay. So my objective is to give you an overview, a masterclass on this, but making it as a habit, it's completely your responsibility. I can help you in every step to guide you, to coach you, give you feedback, but making it as a habit, it is your risk. I can't make it a habit for you. You have to make a habit for yourself. Okay. So let's look at it. What are the common errors? Why people write bad mails? Let's look at the common errors. First and foremost, most mails are without subject line. They just write straight away. Or some people even make a bigger mistake. In the subject line itself, they write the entire content. I am unable to attend the class. I will attend tomorrow, in the subject line itself. Right? Yes, I will address everything. Can you use dear? Can you use Mr.? Should you use the first name, surname, full name? What about the prefix? What about salutation? I will cover everything, Muhammad Ali. no subject line, misusing global distribution list. What do you mean by global distribution list? I'll talk about it a little later. Normally, an organization has a global distribution list. That means there could be 50 people or 100 people gathered together as team Masai, and you just click there and it goes to everyone where it is not required. It's a bad habit. Action required are hidden in the message. Discussion, what could have been done on the phone or in person. What is BCC? Ganesh, I'm going to talk about it in a moment. Including multiple messages, misaddressed recipients, replying versus forwarding. There are top 10 email etiquettes I'm going to share with you a little later. Before that, I want to talk about components of an effective email. First, understand the structure. Remember, structure, substance, and style. What comes first? We discussed this day before yesterday. Structure, substance, and style. What comes first? Yes, absolutely. Because the moment you know the structure and you can fill the substance and refine the style element to make it very impactful. So let's start with the structure. So I'm going to give you a beautiful structure, which with a lot of deep study and understanding I put together basis my 2 or 3 sources of learning, and that's how I put together. Okay, so the 3 pillars or the foundation of a mail is, first of all, you must have a purpose. Clarify your purpose at the very beginning of the mail. Why you are writing this mail? What is the purpose of this mail? Second is, whom are you writing to? Who are all should be included? You will see it a little later. As an organization, you will have multiple departments, multiple stakeholders. There is no point in including anyone and everyone, and it is going to become a nuisance for them. And if they start responding, nuisance for you. Third element is refining the style. Continuously, you have to refine the style. Clarify your purpose, know your audience, refine your style. Now, these 3 things are absolutely important uh, in order to make sure that our mails are effective. So 3 solid components. Okay, you can call it as the foundational blocks, and then I'm going to give you the bricks. Okay, now there are 5 elements that are to be taken care. 3 foundational blocks. You know, when you put the foundation, you put the big blocks, right? These 3 blocks, and I'm going to give you 5 bricks that will help you to do elements. First and foremost is the address. That is where 2CC and BCC comes. I'll talk about it in a moment. The second one is the subject line. Very, very powerful. Now, whether a person opens your mail, whether a person reads a mail, it depends upon how impactful is the subject line. The third is the body. What is the message in the body? Now, it should have to start, the end is very important. Then, what is the call to action? Now, there is a nice acronym called call to action. At the end, what do you want the mail to intend to do? Do you want him to respond? Do you want him to take an action? Do you want him to do an activity? Do you want him to clarify? And finally, signature and attachment. 5 elements, 3 blocks, and 5 elements. So there are 8 things that you need to check before sending the send button, before hitting the send button. What people normally do, tongue, and it will be horrible, horrible mail. Okay, so let's start with this. Here is a situation. Let's say I work as a HOD of School of Communication. I would like my university to make renovation to the School of Communication common area. I don't know if you see large university, you have the physics block, chemistry block, biology block, math block, English block. There is a communication block also. So I would like my university to renovate the School of Communication common area. I've already discussed with my department head, and I've worked out with the university planner to come up with a renovation plan. Now, I received the plan and the cost is there. Obviously, the approval has to come from the dean. The dean or the principal, whoever is heading, the director, whatever the designation is, they have to address it. Are you all with me for this situation? I am the HOD of School of Communication. I want to renovate the common area. I want this communications block to look nice. I find it very depleted. I want to spend some money and renovate it. My head has already approved. Department head has approved it. Now I want my dean to fund it. Now Jamie Smith is the dean. Okay, here I'm sending Subject, building quote. Uh, Word file has been attached, 12 KB. See attached. I want you to observe it very carefully. Jamie Smith is the dean of that entire university or that college. Subject is building quote, and see attached. See attached. Now, what do you think about this mail? For 10 seconds, don't type it. Just keep it in your mind. Okay, I want you to compare two examples. Now, the same person sends another mail. Okay, somebody said careless, incomplete, no head, no tail, no body, right? And he or she is writing to this person. Now let's look at second mail. The same person and another way she has written, he or she has written. In this case, Andrea is a lady. Quote for SOC renovation, blueprint, and also the building code. Both, not just the code, but also the blueprint. But let's see what she has written. Dear Jamie, I hope you had a good weekend. I went to the last city soccer game of the season. Boy, was it cold. I thought about leaving early, but I'm glad I didn't. City tied in the last 30 seconds and they won in overtime. Anyways, Anyways, the School of Communication and RIT, several hundred students each semester, only RIT students, communication over the summer, facilities since drafted, long short to end. In the end, long story short, attached is the code for blueprint for renovation of the school's common area. What isn't the shown, blah, blah, blah. I have shared these plans with faculty members and most are supportive. One staff really wants to make sure her exciting file cabinet is included in the design. I think these changes are important. It is beneficial for the school and our constituents. And whom she's sending to? The dean. And such a long mail. Absolutely. Absolutely. Right? Now, if you look at it, the clarity of purpose is critical element in any conversation. In both these mails, the purpose was missing. In both these mails, purpose was missing. One was very rude, unprofessional, no head, no tail. I'm saying that what the hell? Sent like this, I'm not going to do. The other one, too lengthy, right? And some come. It is not like in-person conversation. In person, it can start like that. Hey, Jamie, did you watch the football match? First of all, they have given the time for that discussion. Yes, body must be short and effective, right? It is. So let's start with the first block. Clarify your purpose. Now, every mail has a purpose. Every mail has a purpose, either to inform or educate, or to make a request, like what Andrea did. I'm making a request for you to approve this quote so that we can start. It also has an information, what is required, or sometime to make an introduction. I may send a mail saying that, hi, I want to introduce Adarsh Mishra, a student at Masai School batch. He's pursuing a full stack web development program. I would like you to consider for the position of so and so in your organization. It's to make an introduction. Possible, or just to respond. Many a times you don't just email, but you want him to respond to your query. Okay, probably you would say how many students are required for this activity, and then that particular person says, I need 2 student volunteers are required. Are you with me, friends? Every mail that you write in business has a purpose, and the purpose are different. When the purpose are different, the tonality will also be different. The content also will be different. Understand the purpose of your mail and write a message that honors that purpose. So, what is the starting point there? Always the starting point is the purpose. We are starting with the structure. There are 3 things. Remember PAT: purpose, audience, and tone. Once the first point is purpose. Okay. Now, once you have understood the purpose, now you have to review the purpose alignment. Is the purpose is clearly communicated? Once you write the mail, rewrite if the message not aligned with purpose. Keep the message to 1 or 2 purpose. This is another important understanding that you must have in an email. Don't write 5-6 things to take an action. It will not happen. Then that is an agreement or a MOU. In a mail, not more than two purpose. It should be ideally one, maximum two. Review for purpose alignment. Otherwise, this guy, look at his reaction. Oh God, what is he showing to me? Oh God, right? This is how the reaction is going to be, right? So let's avoid this completely, and let's do that. And to start with is with the purpose. The second important criteria is, what is your message? Your message has to be clear. Your message has to be concise. Your message should have a core and not crowded out. If these things are taken, this is how the person will react, with a complete attention, full concentration. Probably might also take a book and a pen to write down few notes, what is this person is talking about. When you review your message, you should find it to be completely aligned with the defined purpose. So you have written the purpose. How do you check whether that purpose is communicated strongly? Is to review that document once you write the mail. Are you all with me so far? Are you all with me so far? Fantastic. So let's move on. Sometimes you can write the purpose by working backwards, right? From backwards from the purpose. That means your message is based on the purpose to ensure it is aligned with purpose, and anything that is not aligned with purpose, start removing them. Now, once that purpose is very clearly understood, you must understand who is your audience. Am I writing to someone with authority? Am I writing to someone who's in my similar line of work, or someone who's reporting to me? Am I writing internally, or am I writing externally? Okay, am I writing to my customers, or am I writing to my vendors? Am I writing to some professional authorities who are going to give me certain licenses and approvals? So knowing your audience is very, very, very important. Okay, so going back is very important. Now, what we need to do is, let's go back to that mail and let's see how Andrea writes the mail. You remember the first mail, she just says attached. Second one was a lengthy mail. Now let us look at Andrea learns from purpose and alignment. And let's look at the audience, purpose, audience, and she writes, Dear Jimmy, I recently met with the facilities to review the proposed remodel of the School of Communication space on the third floor. So very specific. Attached are the blueprints and the quote. Note that attached quote does not include $3670 phase 2 bidding plan. Highlight of the renovation plans. The cost of the renovation is less than, trying to make it easy for the dean to understand, $50 per square feet. I would be happy to go over the blueprint in more details in person if you would like. I look forward to hearing your thoughts, Andrea. I've given you three outputs. The first output, attached. Second, lengthy mail. Third one, the same lengthy mail, made it into in such a way, the purpose is very clearly defined, attachments are taken care, and what action needs to be done is also written. Now, this is the way an email structuring has to be there. If you look at it, the structure is very clear. The structure is very clear. The subject is there, attachment is there. Dear Jamie, look at the paragraphs. No paragraphs is very big, and obviously no brainer. Third would elicit an action, create an impression this person is professional, right? Now this was the second example. You saw how it was. The same one is being given like this. Which one is easier? Right? And remember that this guy doesn't receive one mail a day. Being a dean, he might receive more than 200 mails a day, and most of it might be for approval. And in that time period, if I have to get his attention, I must make it easy for him to read. Okay. Now, obviously, professional, formal, clear, complete, communicated well, information is there, cost of renovation is given, detailed, explanatory, etc., 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 to the point. So, friends, here is an example that I have given to you. All of us can learn how to do an email writing. Okay, now let's start with the elements of that. I've given you the third one. I've given you the foundational blocks: the purpose, alignment, and the tonality. The tone is very professional. Tone is friendly. Tone is welcoming. Tone is to create an action. Okay, and to build credibility. That's what is being done. Let's look at each one of them. First one is the address, subject line, message, call to action, and attachment. Let's start with address. Generally, you will use all the 5 elements in a mail. Maybe in some cases, you may not use an attachment, but definitely all others would be there. Let's start with one by one. Now, address. Now, address is got 3 lines, right? Let's go back to that email sample here. If you see that, I can't show you BCC here, but otherwise, when you click CC, you will get a BCC also. When you click a BCC, you will also have an option for BCC. Now, 2 is Jamie. Probably I want to keep someone else also informed. It is CC. BCC means only that person is aware, no one else is informal. Blind carbon copy. Absolutely, Mohammed. Blind carbon copy. Here it is known only by the receiver and the sender. The 2 and others are not known. Okay, I'll give you an example. Let's say one of the instructors wants to send to head of the department about unruly behavior of a student. Okay, now let's say he sends it to Sumit from operation, but he wants to make a BCC to me or to Nrupo. Possible? Now that is called BCC, absolutely. Okay, now let's look at each one of them in detail. Okay, but most important, do not use BCC unnecessarily. You will come across as somebody who is secretive. Once in a while to use it, it is okay, but not always. Think before you click reply all. Do not do this, not required. Okay, using 2 CC and BCC. Why should I ever use CC or BCC? When should I CC someone instead of 2 to someone is a question some of you might have in your mind. Now, let me give you an example. Now, 2 is a field like talking. Let's say there are 3 people in this, there are 5 people here. Okay. Now, there are 5 people here. If you look at it, mostly, I'm assuming this person, based on the eye contact, this person is talking to this person. Okay, mostly on the basis of the eye contact. Okay, now this is 2. Now, in a conversation, everybody is hearing, but in an email conversation, let's say she wants this person also to know what you are saying to this person. And you don't want this person to be involved because he's not going to add value and you do not want to burden him. But he happens to be her boss. And this is something which is little sensitive. So I want to mark a BCC. Are you with me? This is how it happens in an email conversation, right? 2 CC and BCC. But as I told you, BCC must be avoided. It must be used only if it is required. Okay. Now, sometimes if you unnecessarily mark, let's say I'm marking this to this guy. Okay. In this, at least he's part of the conversation. But in the mail, I'm going to send blindly a mail. As I told you, the same conversation, one of the instructors is, let's say an IEA. Let's say you're all comfortable with IEA, right? You're interacting with him. An IEA wants to bring to the notice of operations that a student is missing a lot of evening stand-ups. But this person also wants to mark a BCC to either the curriculum head, Rupul, or even discipline head. Possible? Now that is a BCC. And imagine if that instructor marks this mail to placement. This guy will say, what can I do? I'm in placement. Or that person marks to somebody in finance. Say, Are yaar, mujhe kyun bhej raha hai? This is how the reaction is going to be there. So make sure when you send a mail, it is appropriate, right? The CC field is for those who can hear the conversation. So 2 CC and BCC is very important. And whenever you are marked a BCC, you have no obligation to receive. Usually best if you do not reply it, because BCC is that blind carbon copy. It is just to make you aware. I'm not expecting you any actions. Misuse can impact trust level. This is the most important on BCC. Do not use BCC unnecessarily. Are you all with me? Can you give me an S? Okay. Complement your email message with a different form of communication when the time is of essence. Sometimes you need not depend on telephone email. You can pick up telephone and speak, or a tandem that we use, or a Slack, or simply if that person is sitting in the next cabin, just go there and talk to them. Second is, once you have decided the address, the next is your subject line. As I told you, friends, subject line is super important. Subject line is absolutely important if you want to draw the attention, and some amount of action is to be taken. And today, when I'm going to receive 50, 70, 100, 200 mails, I just look at in my mobile. The subject line is very important. If the subject line is not good, unlikely I have to complete it. To keep the interest, what is that I need to do? Right now, keep the email from getting deleted. I need to read the mail. Keep it short. Yes, 90%. No, not 90%. They say whether a person opens a mail or not depends upon the subject line. Okay, so the content is much longer than the subject line, but importance is very high, especially in an unknown situation where I don't know who's sending to me. So I open basis the headline. Keep it short. Specify if there are any actions required and due dates. Mention clearly who the message is for. I'll show you some subject line. Hi, rescheduling. Meeting rescheduled to 3rd, 3 p.m. tomorrow, Wednesday, 28th November. Look at the difference. Help. Help, I can't find that proposal for ABC Paper Limited. Reminder, coaching call is due tomorrow, 3:30 p.m. That's better. Few questions. I want to ask few questions about funnel ratios. Yeah, congrats. Congrats, Shweta, for topping the Math Olympiad. Much more strong. But don't make it too long, but keep it short, but you need to keep it effective. Okay? The third important element is the content. Using appropriate greeting is very important. Hi, Shankar. Hi, Sayak. Hi, Abhishek is very important. Using dear is too stuffy and awkward in some cultures. So I want you to be aware of that. Typically, first time don't use dear. It is better to use with hi. Hi, Vishnu. Hi, Vishnu. That is very good. That should be preferred. Using dear is pretty bit stuffy. Okay, stuffy means people are not comfortable. And especially if it is the opposite sex, it makes it even more difficult. The page layout, use shorter paragraph. Use less word. Keep it short, 8 to 10 lines. Respected, typically respected is required in education, but corporate, it is not required. Okay, a respected sir is required in application. No, not need. Corporate environment not required. Tech, it is not required. It will look too formal. But if you're writing to the dean, writing to the someone like that, you can write it. Again, it depends on the culture. That is why be aware of the culture. So you can make it formal by using name. Today, using name in India is perfect. That sir is gone away, right? Even if you look at it, Masai, you can call any one of us by our name. Absolutely fine. Use shorter paragraph. Use lesser word. Keep the message focused, readable, and short. Avoid fancy typefaces. I'll talk about later what is this typefaces is all about. Use asterisks to highlight the text if you must. Write in standard professional English and correct spelling. All caps means shouting. Don't do that. Identify yourself clearly to the cold contacts if you don't know by saying, hello, I am so and so. The reason I am writing is I have an introduction from Shankar in ABC Limited. Okay? Formatting is also very important. See, the message is the message. You must be very clear what is the heart of the message. I would like to continue our conversation. These examples are very short. Here, an article I found, usually the bulk of our mail. Avoid saying more than what you need to say. Okay. Now, this is an art that you will learn it by practicing. You will learn it by observing many emails. and you will learn it as you progress in your journey. Okay, long emails probably get skimmed more than they get read. So avoid long emails. Now, the fourth important element is call to action. Remember, this mail has a purpose. Now, the purpose is spelled out, but there has to be a call to action. A specific request. Can we meet next week? Focus on getting an yes or a no. One, not many requests. On Tuesday at 2 in your office. Easy to understand and to respond. The last part of our body is call to action and then followed up with a signature. If you don't end with your call to action, your request can easily get lost in the body. Element number 5, the attachment. Use carefully, use URL links instead. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the attachment wherever it is required, convert into PDF. If you have to give it Word or Google Doc, it is okay. But otherwise, PDF is a good way to do that. Make sure the file sizes are small. But most important element, I'm going to give you a weekend activity, is to create an email signature. Now look at this guy's email signature. Toby Jones, CEO, Penn CL. New York, telephone, Word, I don't know, this is website and email. This is a typical American way to write, and he's present on so many social media platforms. Okay, so I want all of you to create this. There is one tool which is free, is the HubSpot. So if you type HubSpot email signature, it gives you on Gmail. You can go and create this and have an email signature nicely. Okay, so 5 components of an email: your name, your tag name, your phone, your address, and your links. These are the 5 things non-negotiable. If you're comfortable, you can put your photograph. And as I told you, photo adds a lot of value. Imagine you get a mail, something like this, and your photograph is there. And first of all, you're different from others. You're following certain pattern, and very clearly you're sharing everything. There's nothing secretive about you. You're such an open person. It sends a lot of messages to you. Okay. Would you like to understand your skill set? Would you like to understand your value proposition? Directly under your name, free of jargons, just a few words to reinforce your brand. Okay. So sometimes the tagline example, like full stack developer, JavaScript developer, I wrangle code. Think about it. You can write it. But I'll give you a bad example and a good example. This is a good example, right? Very simple. Name, a photograph, senior writer at Vivid Technology, mobile number, and these are the social media handle. I think 2 or 3 is good enough. I think Facebook not required. You can just give LinkedIn and Twitter. Normally, I give LinkedIn and Twitter. Facebook is something personal in nature, but it is okay. But this is too big. Look at it. Shady Pine Golf Resort, semi-private mountain golf with gorgeous views and scientific wildlife. Address, phone number, telephone. Absolutely the same. One thing you should maintain, friends, all professional platform, one photograph. Your LinkedIn, your GitHub, your Twitter, your email should all have one photograph, which is professional, which we have been talking about it in the last 1 week. I don't want to see different people, different kind of photograph in different platform. You should use a simple one, which is professional one, and I'm able to associate you with you. Okay, all these are not required. It is too big, and it is a bad example of that. So quick summary before we get on to the second part. First and foremost, clarify your purpose. Second is who's your audience. Third, keep refining your style. What do you mean by style? Is when you keep writing it, there is a style in writing. Is it aggressive? Is it passive? Is it assertive? What is the tonality that you have? 5 elements: address, subject line, message, call to action, attachment, and signature. 5 things that are required to do that. Generally, you will use all 5 key elements to achieve your purpose. All 5 elements are used to achieve your purpose. Now let's look at a short video. I like this video. It's a funny video. Let's watch it. Okay.
Hey, Tyler, you going to that all-day meeting tomorrow?
I'll be on vacation from Tuesday, June 27th until 2 days ago.
Your auto response is still on.
I'll be on vacation from Tuesday, June 27th until 2 days ago.
Okay, everyone, I need you to send me your reports ASAP before lunch if possible.
Will do, Trip. Will do, Trip. Will do, Trip. Will do, Trip.
Why are you including me in this?
We'll be there around 7 tonight, if that's okay.
Yeah, sounds good.
Kind regards, Trip Crosby, Regional Sales Manager. Work 404-555-6112, extension 405. Mobile 404-555-3767. Email trip@biz. Success is always an option. John Maxwell, author.
Here's that report you needed.
I don't see anything.
Oh, dang it, I forgot to attach it.
Hey, Beth, did you see all the submissions we got today?
OMG, I know!
Easy on the old caps.
Sorry.
It's okay. Semicolon, close parenthesis.
Hey, son, you have to watch this video of this cat sleeping on a horse. It is so cute.
Mom, I'm at work.
Dear friend, I am Johnson Emmanuel. This might come to you as a surprise. I'm the next heir to the throne in Nigeria, and I want to offer you a large sum of money.
Please stop coming here.
Hi, Trip. Are you satisfied with...
Hi, I'm the administrator. I could not deliver this document. It was too big. On Monday at 10:37 a.m., Paul wrote, "Hi, Trip. This is the latest version of the document you were looking for. Hope it's not too late. Paul."
Yeah, I know what I wrote.
Hey, really looking forward to seeing you guys tonight. Oh yeah, circular disclosure. The information transmitted just now is intended only for the person or entity to which it is addressed, and it may contain confidential and or privileged material. Any review,
I
retransmission.
don't know what that means.
Inbox full.
That's what he said. Hey, what's this poker game I hear about this weekend?
Who's that guy?
You mean to bring anything or?
I meant to invite a different David. Rain check?
Email can be frustrating, but that's probably because you're trying to use it for the wrong things, like status reporting or approval tracking.
If you're looking for a smarter way to manage work, consider using Workfront, a much better than email approach to work management.
For more information, just click the link or go to workfront.com/
So that is a funny way of looking at it.
our new weekly web
Let's
show.
look at one more.
Hey, Tyler.
Before you hit send, email is a vital part of business communication. Unfortunately, many employees don't know how to use email well, nor do they understand the risks of using it inappropriately. Before you hit the send button, ask yourself these questions. If the message is addressed to more than one person, does it really need to be? Reply all should be used very sparingly. Am I angry? If so, save the message as a draft and return to it at least an hour later. Have I reread what I wrote to be sure it's well written and punctuated correctly? Could I better accomplish the purpose of the message with a phone call or other method of communication? Am I covering more than one subject? If so, consider sending a separate message for each subject. Am I blind copying anyone? If so, how will the primary recipient feel if he or she finds out? Am I attaching a file that may be too large for the recipient to receive, or in a format that will be difficult for the recipient to open? Have I included a subject line that provides the recipient with a useful context for my message? We hope you'll follow these guidelines to make email a more useful and effective business tool. Thank you.
Okay, that was before you hit send button. I'll give you more details. It is not just about sending mails, right? We must also take care of replying to emails. So what is the thumb rule? Reply as soon as reasonable. If you feel emails are like a distraction, you can snooze that while you're working. Immediately, it is not expected in most cases, though many of other colleagues tend to do that as urgent as a standard one. You can set the expectation. but at the same time, don't get buried and you just forget about the email. Schedule a time to manage email. Some people respond to mails every 2 hours. That is a good methodology to do. Do not check email in the morning. If it is a mission critical, it can wait. Look up for time management method. Otherwise, you will get buried only answering to the email. Now, I'm going to give you some methods of communicating. We have got now the entire framework, right? Purpose, audience, tone. Starting with address, subject, line, then you have the body of the message, call to action, signature, and attachment. 5 things. Are you with me so far? You should remember this because I'm going to give you an important activity which will be part of your Unit 1 assessment, and it will be an email writing, and I want you to bring in all these elements there. Okay, so I'm going to give you communicating better through better emails. Now, many of us, one of the things that we'll have a challenge because whether it is Gmail or Outlook, we don't know which font to use. Right? Now, for some people, is this better or italics is better? Caps is better? What should be the font size? Is there to be a color? What should be the size? What should be the background? I'm sure all these questions will keep coming, right? So let us look at each one of them. Default, keep the font family. What do you mean by font family? Arial, Cosmic, Calibri, Verdana. All these are one family. So you keep one family font. Don't switch between one font to another font. Times New Roman, absolutely fine. Arial, Calibri, whatever you want to use it, but it should be one family and it should look professional. I'm going to talk about it. Typically, Arial, Calibri, Times New Roman, Verdana are all very, very, very acceptable font family. Okay. Now, the next one is what should be the size? Is bigger a better or should I make it very small? What should be the font size? Ideally, if you're using a Gmail, font size, of course, Gmail is, you have, what is that? A huge, large, and regular, right? There are only 3 things you have in Gmail. But if you're doing it in Outlook, then you can have the font number. Typically, 11 or 12 is ideal. 10 is a little small. 11 is considered ideal. 12, beyond 12 will look very big. So keep the default size. Let the reader adjust. Avoid weird distraction. Now, what about bold and asterisks? Many of them have this great habit of italics and bold. Everywhere, bold and italics, bold and italics. It doesn't look good. It doesn't look good at all. Wherever it is required, you must use it only if it is appropriate. Okay. Now, italics are a little hard to see. And if you underline it, is it a link or what it is a big question. Now, when I really want something to be out and I like it to bold, something like this, bold it, and level is highlighting that part. It pops up like nothing else. I love highlighting. It really stands, but don't overdo it. Do it only if it is absolutely necessary that you must do that. What about quotes and indenting? I love quotes, right? Quotes. I'm talking about here. I'm not talking about the quote by Abraham Lincoln or something like that. I'm talking about quotes. Something is good. Indenting is very key. You look at what is indenting. Indenting is like this, using bullet points. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Or you can just give like this. It's an indenting. Or you can use something like this also, boxes, small boxes. It's an indenting. Great for blog post. Not as great for email, but it can be used. It depends where you do. Emotions. Please, I would rather say don't use it in email. It is okay for WhatsApp. It is okay for Facebook, but don't use it in email. It's a professional platform. Avoid it. And some people don't understand what it means. Abbreviation. IIRC. You said they got IIRC. You said that they wouldn't do that. LOL. I guess they figured it out. RN, I think I'll take an hour away from the desk. AFAIK, then be back today, BRB. I don't know how many of you understood this. Right? So I'll tell you the answer. The answer is very simple. Laugh out. RN is a person will take an hour back, is away in the kitchen, and he'll be right back. Most people will find it difficult to do that. Pretty common to use it. Some likes the quote. I'm okay with that quote. You can use it. Using these kind of images, not recommended, but if it is a professional one, you want to showcase something, it is good. Images enhance, but it should reinforce, avoid memes, and beware of copyright. That is something to be taken. Formatting, bullet, easy to digest, breaks up the narrative, visually clear, highlights the main point. Great formatting, only when needed. Nice visual break, keeps from rambling. And you can also give first point, second point. This is where also you can do a formatting very nicely. Great for long emails, create sections, visually very different. But some people use background, something like this. They think it is fashionable, like how we go and print invitation cards, right? And you have seen those cards, different background. Not always a good idea, almost never a good idea. Just don't do it. Please don't change. Rarely looks good. Default is the best. When everything seems important, nothing is important. In that entire mail, so many things are important. I don't know which one to act upon. So make sure that you do it appropriately. Your message should always be more important than the flash in the message of the presentation. Otherwise, this is how the reaction is going to be. I've already discussed C, BCC, and CC. You must take care of that. Avoid reply all. It puts unnecessary pressure on the other guy, and it is a nuisance. Okay. Now, there is one more option that is available called out of office. Now, it depends upon the organization culture. You may have to update that. What is an out of office is when somebody sends an email and you cannot respond to that mail, you put out of office message saying that you're traveling or you are in a training program and you can expect delays in your reply. Okay. That is how out of office message are. But don't write unnecessarily auto response like this. I'll check my mail twice a day. If you need a quick response, get hold of me on my mobile. These are unnecessarily auto response. This is one of the best auto response you can write. I'm currently busy with a project that is taking almost all of my time. If you are emailing me with a product or a support question, please mail me Ajay at Masai School. Otherwise, I will try to respond in 24 hours. Now, unlike India, in many other countries, they don't share their mobile number. It is very personal. Only the family members and friends would know. But in India, we give our mobile numbers to everyone. But of late, it is being a little restricted one. So it is better auto response. Something like this is okay. So remember those 5 things: subject line, introduction, message, call to action, and attachment, and email. I want to introduce one last thing before we sign off for the day is proofreading. What is proofreading? Proofreading is please check everything before you click the send button. I'm going to give 12 things for proofreading. That is why there is a checklist. There are 12 things you need to take care so that you are sending very professional, effective mail. First is the purpose alignment. How many purpose does the email have? 1, maximum 2. It should not have more than that. Should this be multiple emails for the address purpose? Easy to identify by reading the mail. Second one is proofread the message. Are you saying what you want to say? Is the entirety of your message aligned with the purpose? Does your message have unnecessary stuff which is distracting? Proofread the message. Proofread for distraction. Does anything in your mail distract for the purpose? Do you have too much information in the mail? Are there links and other things that in this email that can go with? There is a distraction, right? You put some link and he will go somewhere and he will not come back. Proofread for call of action. Is the call to action clearly stated? Is the call to action specific? Is the call to action at the end of the body? Proofread for spelling. Please don't make spelling errors. Install Grammarly. Are there any spelling errors, grammar errors? Does the email read well? Right? Proofread your acronyms and jargons. Can any acronyms can be replaced with word? Remember, JFM is coming. OND is leaving. OND is done. So all these are acronyms. Is these any jargon that can be written more clearly? Is there anything that can be removed? Cliche that can be removed. Proofread for proper alignment. Proofread for proper audience. Sorry, not alignment, audience. Is your replying or replying to all are the recipients correct? These things needs to be checked. Should you remove anyone from the prior thread? Are the right people in the right 2CC and BCC? Tone, very important. Is there a chance for misunderstanding your tone? Are you coming across too strong or too weak? Is your tone aligned with the purpose? Keep it short, keep it concise. Can you remove anything? Are there any distraction that don't add value? Are you too worldly in any of the sentences? Proofread. Proofread for visuals. Do your visuals help clarify your message? Should you add more visuals for emphasis? Are you diluting your message with too many visuals? Lastly, the subject. You know that we have already discussed about the subject, how we can write it down. And also your branding. Are you putting your company logo there? How are you taking care of that? Signatures. Branding is also a signature. All these is a proofreading that you do. Proofreading is a must. Most of us don't do it because we think it's okay to send a poor email or ineffective email. Make it as a habit, and then you see the magic happening. When the stakes are high, your email can have a major impact on the outcome. It can pay to invest your time in proper proofreading. This is the summary. Visuals, misusing visuals, all those things needs to be taken care. So before I sign off, there is an assignment. You can take a screenshot of this assignment. You need to write a mail to Masai School. Why you should be considered for full stack web development course. It is not for a job. It is for a course. Please understand it. Please don't apply it as a position. Remember, as a student that you are applying, why you should be considered for a full stack web development course. You need to send this to Maitri, MYTHRI at masaischool.com. Maitri at masaischool.com. She's going to assess you on all those things. Three solid blocks, 5 elements, some nuances that I have shared, and I'm going to give you, and you need to do that. I'm going to extend it by 5 more minutes. Let's look at top 10 tips for email etiquette. Number 1, remember, etiquettes are manners. First of all, you have to understand, are there any email agencies that manage that particular country protocol? In India, it is just coming up. And if you have to do that, you must have some compliant that needs to be done. The second etiquette is keep email as professional as you are. Do not forward joke. Do not discuss office gossip. Don't use biased language. Don't send emails that contain abusive, obscene, or derogatory language. Send courtesy responses. If somebody has written to you, even if he says that it will take a week time, just say received your request. I will get back to you in 4 to 5 working days. Don't just send attachments. Okay, we have seen that in Andrea's case. Let email do its job. It takes time. It will get responded. You don't always need to use an email. If it can be done through a Slack or a Tandem or a telephone call or a Google Meet, explore the options. Avoid all caps. Many people do all caps. All caps means shouting, that you are shouting, even if you are not. That is how it is perceived as. Nobody likes to be shouted. And abbreviation, somebody wrote it, oh my God, A.H. Martin is AFK already. Pro, are you going QIX? Oh my goodness, as it happens with Martin, is away from his computer. AFK is away from computer and probably at coffee day already. Are you going soon? So avoid abbreviation, avoid emotions. Sustained thread. That means sometimes the mail keep going forward and backward, it becomes casual. Know when to start a new thread. Take time to revise if required. Right? Now, these are all the concepts. I've given you an activity that need to be done. If you do this consistently for some amount of time, you will build your capability. Okay, so I hope this session was useful for all of you. As I told you, knowing is not doing. I've given you the concepts, I've given you frameworks, I've given you etiquettes, I've given you tips. I've also given you a task. Now, the task is you have to write a mail to maitri@masaischool.com saying that why you should be considered for a full stack web development course starting on 19th April 2021. This is a hypothetical situation, okay? So you write as a student, you write as what you are, and write a mail nicely so that basis this application, I will consider you whether to accept it or not. Okay, there is Digvijay saying the class was amazing. Thank you so much. It's an important skill, Digvijay, and probably people don't teach you this basic skill. And plus it is confusing if you go to the internet. There are so many people giving you so many tips. My job is to put together a framework that works for all of you. I want you to implement it. I want all the students at Masai School to write top-notch email. Okay, so thank you so much. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye. Thank you.